Hello, everyone, and welcome back. I am so excited about today's topic. We're going to talk all about money. Obviously, this is a big subject, so we're going to just break down some pieces today. In the world, this has become even louder over the last few years with prices going up, people feeling more stressed about money than ever, and there is a reason, and we're going to get into that very soon. But I really want to start at the beginning, giving you some foundations to understand how our system works and how we go about getting this higher frequency financial information so that we can change our life. For me, money was always a stress factor until I decided to learn all about it, and I did not realize how life altering it would be. On so many levels, in so many areas of my life, I didn't know it was going to change so much. And it was one of my favorite things that I have ever shifted. So we're going to dive into it today. We're going to start at a more foundational piece because I want to start giving you a bigger understanding of why we can get stuck in these lower frequency ways of living and how we get out of them. So let's start with our ego. If you know me, you know I love the brain. I love understanding how our computer switchboard works because this is science. You have an electromagnetic field. It controls all shape and matter. This electromagnetic field around your body comes from every thought and emotion you have, gets put on this field, and it creates our entire existence. So, ego obviously is part of the brain that says, I'm going to keep you safe. Now, if you know anything about me, you obviously know that I lead a life of intuition, and you know that ego and keeping us safe is going to be the limited version of living. It is going to be a collection of biased opinions, past experiences, not the future result. Our ego thinks it's going to keep us safe, but it's actually not. So obviously, I'm all about living an intuitive life. But this little ego is part of our brain. We need to understand it. And there is a huge piece that we need to understand about what it does and how it can really block us from getting to where we want to go. So if our ego is all about keeping us safe, there is a very big thing that the ego absolutely hates experiencing, and it is being wrong. Meaning the ego goes, if it gets new information, it goes, no, that can't be right because I would have learned this by now. I would have collected this information and made sure we were safe. That is absolutely crazy. That is absolutely wrong. Our ego will actually resist good, higher frequency information. And we're seeing this all over the world in the last few years, where higher frequency information is coming out and people are going, that's crazy. There's no way. Well, it's their ego saying, oh no, I'm wrong. That is right. But I don't know how to digest this yet because that means I was wrong and I missed something. And that is a big part of our system. We need to understand that our ego is actually going to reject information because it thinks I would have known this by now. I would have learned this by now. So it must be wrong. And you may ask why this is super important. One, when you're growing and evolving, just know whatever you resist is the avenue you should go down. But more importantly, I want you to think about the powers on this earth, not in realms like source and everything, that there are a lot of people who are in such a state of fear that they use their quote unquote powers to control. And that means in all of our systems, they feed information. Now, I want you to ask, do you think that information they are feeding is high frequency information or information that is keeping you in a trapped bubble that keeps you limited to you accessing your greater power, your greater genius, your greater abilities, because they're in a fear of going, if everyone's successful, I won't be. In all of our systems in this world, money is taught in a very low frequency way. All the information from credit cards to savings accounts to retirement funds to how we deal with money, from budgeting and all of these tools that we have been taught. And, maybe some of the intention was good because they didn't have the information. But I just want you to know that we were all conditioned to handle money in a very low frequency way, which means your ego and system is going to want to reject higher frequency money ways of being. And the reason why I bring this up is because when I started digging into how I needed to actually create money, how was I going to get from this level to this level and continue? Because if you're anything like me, I know for many years, I stayed in the same place. Maybe I got ahead for a second and then it went back down and it was just this rat race. Or I even had a lot of money and I felt absolutely terrified about it, which we'll talk about fear in a second. But there was never this feeling as if I reached this next level that I understood money the way that I do now, of being able to go, cool, I can create this and make this bigger. The reason is because all the information out there is not going to teach you how to make money grow. It's going to keep you limited with money. And your ego is going to actually resist and push back from this higher frequency information. And this is not a coincidence. Just know that our systems and our structures in society, they know how our brain works. People are smart. They know how to keep us quiet in our little system. It's this whole thing of, this is what's going to keep you safe in money. Keep doing this, do this, budget this way, do this. My favorite question, when I ask people like, oh, do you feel like you're, good with money? They're like, yes, I don't spend it a lot. I'm really frugal. And I'm like, okay, that might be slightly a problem because again, money wants to grow. It does not want to be put in a savings account and sitting there. It wants to be invested in the right investments to get bigger. So that's a great example of how the lower frequency belief that we think is smart is, I'm good with my money, I save it. And the higher frequency way of knowing about money is, money wants to get bigger. It wants to be invested. The ego is not going to like that. So when we talk about the ego, you want to keep in mind that the best information out there to get you to grow your money, your ego is going to go, that seems crazy. I can't do that. There is always this happy medium place. And I'm coming out with a financial course. There's a link below to join the waitlist. We're going to talk all about all the tools that we're talking about that seems slightly crazy, but it's going to help you grow your money. So join the waitlist. We are launching in like 2 weeks. It's super exciting because again, this is my favorite subject. So going back to my point though, is that you want to actually get to a place of going, maybe my ego is wrong. Maybe I actually do not know how to grow money. And maybe the things I've been doing is actually keeping me and capping me in one place. So just remember how our ego works. It doesn't want to be wrong. And there was this big thing at the very beginning when I started really opening up. And this is why I know there's no way in chance that I'm ever wrong. One, because I have the experience of doing it and seeing the result. But two is I really put down the wall of going, maybe I have this all wrong. Maybe I was taught so incorrectly. And now I need to reteach myself the correct way of living, which is going to go against everything society says. And money is one of the biggest areas where I will say the contagions in this of keeping you so limited with your money and keeping that flow from being like tiny, this big, to like massive flows of coming in. There's contagions keeping your electromagnetic field creating that. So we are going to dive into all the tools to make sure that you have the correct ingredients to open up the flow, to keep the flow coming, to know that you're building money and constantly growing and not depleting it. Moving forward today, maybe just say, maybe my ego was wrong and was taught these tools that were low frequency, and this is why I can't get to the next level. Again, this is not a you fault. You are not struggling with money because you failed in some way, shape, or form, or you're not doing something that you should be doing. It's because you were taught wrong. You have contagions that are keeping your electromagnetic field, creating a very limited expression and creation of money. So that's number one. Number two, I want to talk about is fear. Obviously, with money, so much fear comes up, a ton of it. And it's constantly ongoing. And we go in these waves. It just is like this cycle of fear. I want you to understand that fear, all that is missing details, meaning our brain says, danger, danger, danger. I'm missing details. I don't know what we're going to do. So what our brain is actually looking for is knowledge. Knowledge. That's it. If you give it knowledge, the correct knowledge, it will stop and calm down. It will go, oh, we're not in fear anymore. So when we're constantly in this loop of fear, and this is what I didn't realize for many years, is I was looping in fear constantly about money. And that was my brain and my system trying to say, we don't have the right information and the knowledge in this category. We are constantly doing the same actions, the same beliefs, maybe tweaking things here and there, but still having such a state of fear that it was debilitating at times. And that was my brain saying, we need more details. We need more knowledge. Knowledge is power. Guys, I'm telling you, that is the biggest thing in this world right now. We need high frequency knowledge. And that doesn't come from reading a book. It comes from getting high frequency information, embodying it, experiencing it, doing it again, over and over again, that it becomes a formula and it is a guarantee. That's real knowledge. Everything that I teach is because I've done it a million times and got the same result. That is knowledge. That is an embodiment of information, knowing and an experience of it. That type of knowledge is going to change your life. When you have knowledge, your life will open up. And when it comes to fear, it's just your system trying to say, we don't have the correct knowledge and we need better knowledge to get our system to calm down. We need to fill in the gaps. Think of fear as seeing a map and we only see 30% of the map, but there's all these holes. We need to fill in the holes. And for many years, for me, I just thought it was just like I was afraid of money. Well, there was just a lot of knowledge that was missing. So for me, I needed to fill in the holes. When you fill in the holes with knowledge, the fear disappears. You are no longer afraid of it. You have certainty. You have understanding of what and how you should do it. I mean, I remember just spending a tiny bit of money. It used to stress me out. Now I understand how to make the right investment, how to make an investment that gets bigger. And there's so many tools and knowledge that if you fill in the gaps, money can be so much fun and fear goes away. So just keep in mind, again, fear means you're missing details. And so right now we're in this current energy of the world. And I think I've talked about this on here, but the current energy is we need to take more control of our own life. It needs to be in our hands. Nobody's going to come save us from our life. We have to control it. And money has been such a huge theme going on in the last few years, from prices going up, people being more stressed about money. It's gotten louder. And so you want to ask the question, what's going on there? And what is happening is it's trying to tell a lot of people we have to be more in control of us understanding how to create our own money. We can't sit here like during COVID when everyone just got money from the government. That is not taking control of our life. That's saying someone's going to come save me and give me money. That is not going to work. Now, it's also not going to fully work just focusing on doing work stuff and not dealing with the financial aspect of stuff. Remember, there's 8 areas of our life. One of them is career, one of them is financial. Different areas. We have to tackle the financial area right now. Our world is mirroring back. This is an area we don't feel like we have control of. We need to understand more knowledge in this area. And so the more knowledge we have, the more control we have of this entire universe of money. And you can actually now create money. So when I say create money, most people will be like, aren't we creating everything? Well, yes, we are. And there is an episode I talk about soul contracts. So before coming into this lifetime, we have contracts of meeting certain people, having certain jobs, having certain experiences, because it plays a huge part in our reoccurring lesson in our soul pull, the thing we came to do. So those pieces are set up to make sure we get the right lessons. So it could be somebody coming in with money, a family, a ton of money. That's going to give you different types of lessons. Coming into a family that has no money will give you other lessons. Depending on the soul, we have different soul contracts. Now, soul contracts are a guarantee that you will accumulate the ingredients on your electromagnetic field and you will get that outcome. The thing to keep in mind is when we are seeing what's happening in the world right now, contracts are kind of being let up. You can see how so many businesses are going out of business because the contract is done. The person doesn't know how to create money. And this happened to me. I have another business. I've had it for 14 years. And at the very beginning, it just went and it was successful. And everyone would be like, it's so impressive what you're doing. And I was kind of like, cool. And not to diminish what I was doing, but I was like, this is so easy. This is just kind of happening. That was a soul contract when it kind of just happens. And it doesn't mean I didn't put effort into building the business, but it came a lot easier than what I experienced a little later was when the contract started to let up. And that meant the money started to go down. And there was a few factors in this. My soul wanted to learn how to create a successful business and financial. So there's two pieces going on. But at that time, it was very clear to me, oh no, this contract is going away. I need to actually know how to create money now so that it's a guarantee. So I have certainty for the rest of my life. It's not me just waiting and hoping something lands or hoping something is successful. It's a guarantee. Because when you have knowledge of creating something, so money obviously is a creation. Everything is a creation. A house that you live in, partnership, all of it. There are certain ingredients that create that outcome. So for getting your soul complement, your best partner, one of the ingredients you definitely need is unconditional love for yourself. That is an ingredient most people don't have. And that's why most people don't end up with their soul complement. They end up with a soul mate. So think of it as if you're building a chocolate cake, you need eggs, water, flour, sugar, I don't know, other ingredients. But if we take eggs out of it, it's no longer a chocolate cake. Think of creation is a bunch of ingredients that go on your electromagnetic field that creates an outcome. This is why manifestation is missing so many pieces to the knowledge behind it, because it is specific ingredients that create an outcome. So money is the same thing. It's specific ingredients, which is actions, beliefs, embodiments. So there's different beliefs and actions that you do with money. My hair was like, yes, that is going to manifest something. If you're not watching, something happened with my hands and my hair. But anyways, there's certain ingredients that create money. And if you do the right actions, embody the right beliefs, and you get all of these ingredients on your field, you are guaranteed to get that chocolate cake over and over and over again. Because once you have the embodiment of beliefs and actions, it becomes permanent. You can't undo it. It's stuck on your field. I'm sure you've had this experience where you've grown somewhere in your life. It could be self-love. It could be listening to yourself, any of those things. And at first, it's really hard, and then you struggle, and then all of a sudden, you have it, and you're like, I would never do that again. I would never not listen to myself ever again. And that becomes your norm. And then that is an ingredient because it's part of you. Because technically, it's your core self. It's just being awakened. But it's permanent. It's on your field, and it can't go away. So money is the same thing. You actually can have ingredients that you embody and believe, and it gets put on your field, gets created, and it never goes away. It just gets bigger. So money, there is a formula to it, just like anything else. And this is why I live and breathe this stuff, is because you can have complete certainty in your life that you will get an outcome that you want in life. And for me, that is what I've devoted my entire life to, is learning how to get these formulas. And it's changed my life. And I guarantee it sticks, and you have it for the rest of your life, and it just continues to create. And if anything, your life just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And money is absolutely no different. And we are in a place right now where the universe is trying to mirror back that too many people are reliant on a soul contract of money and not having enough knowledge on how to use it to build it, how to have a relationship to build it, have knowledge and a love for it versus a fear of it. And that is the new piece that's going on right now, which is why so many people are struggling with this area or talking about it. It just keeps coming up because it's trying to get everyone's attention that it's time to learn the knowledge that the ego is going to go, nope, that's absolutely crazy. Because trust me, when I was embodying this, there were moments where I was like, yeah, that's crazy. I cannot believe I'm going to do this. But it's just enough crazy that, trust me, it's safe. Safe. But it's the ego going, that just seems crazy. No one else is doing this. But of course, no one else is doing this, because I want you to know, when it comes to money, there is only a top tiny percentage that actually knows how to create money. Everyone else is a lot of soul contracts that you're seeing out there. And those top people are not giving away this information. They are using it for themselves and they are not teaching it. But just know that there is knowledge that you can learn, that your ego is going to go, this is totally against my system. And that means you're going in the right direction. And if you get all of the knowledge, every little piece in financial, your life will feel a lot less stressed and it'll feel much more calm, and you will have a certainty like nothing else. And that, for me, for so many years, this is for both man and women, right? Men want to be providers. They need this type of certainty. Women want to feel safe and secure. We need this piece so we can be a match to having a man that gives us that. If we don't feel safe and secure, we can't pull in that type of situation in other areas of our life. And this is what I mean. When you shift one area, it affects all 8 areas. And this financial upgrade, I didn't realize how much it was going to give me in other areas of my life, what it was going to change from my friendships to my experiences to relationships and all of that, of finally being able to hold the ingredients of safety, security, certainty, all those things, and then see what life looks like after that. And that was a whole different thing. And I know everyone says there is no certainty. There's 100% you can get a certainty when you embody certain ingredients and they go on your field and it just creates, it's permanent. And that's security, and that is certainty that this will get created. And within financial, you can do that. And it's just such a big area, which is why I think a lot of people have that whole thing of there is no certainty, because most people don't have the understanding of how to create money from a physical and spiritual and neuroscience way of putting it all together and going, these are the actions, these are the beliefs of a billionaire. Because those types of embodiments and actions are not taught at all in society. So keep that in mind. Again, just know that maybe you have been taught wrong. And again, do not put this on yourself. It is just society's way of controlling. We just get low frequency information. And this is one area that is maybe the most contagion-filled low frequency area. But it's no different than changing any other area. It's just getting the right tools and the right knowledge. Once you have that, it's just as easy as shifting self-love or unconditional love. And all those might seem hard too, but trust me, once you get the right pieces, it's easy. You're embodying it. You do it. It's like making a chocolate cake. It could be difficult at first, but you do it 10 times and all of a sudden you're making wedding cakes. When you embody something, it's just a skill. It's getting the system used to it, and then it goes on your field and it's permanent. So just know you can have a safe and secure and have complete certainty with knowing knowledge, having the knowledge and embodying it so it becomes permanent. So just know money can be so fun, so life-opening. It is an upgrade like no other. Thanks so much for joining. If this resonated with you, please like, subscribe, comment, or share with somebody that you know. I would like to reach and help as many people as possible, and I cannot do that without you. So I appreciate the support.